The Galactic Council Chamber was older than most stars. It floated in perfect orbit above Astra Prime, a structure so massive that entire fleets could dock inside its shadow. For thousands of cycles, this hall had decided which species would rise and which would quietly disappear. Today, a new species stood before it. Humanity. They did not arrive with spectacle. No ceremonial fleet. No radiant shields. No war banners. Only one ship. A single human vessel drifted into Council's external display, small, unadorned, painted in a dull, industrial gray. Its hull carried scars instead of polish. Its design looked outdated. The chamber reacted instantly. Low-frequency laughter rippled through the hall. "Is that a courier?" one delegate muttered. "No," another replied, amused. "That's the best they could send." The Council's observation screens zoomed in. No visible weapon ports. No active energy signatures. No layered shields glowing across the hull. Nothing impressive. Nothing threatening. At the center of the chamber, the human delegation stood in silence. 3 figures. Unarmed. Still, they did not argue. They did not protest. They did not even look up. To the Council, that silence looked like submission. The archival AI activated, its voice echoing across the chamber. Species designation: human. Origin system: soul. Galactic age negligible. Notable traits: high adaptability, internal conflict, limited interstellar presence. Holographic data cascaded into view. Images of a violent homeworld. Wars fought over land and ideology. Civilizations rising then collapsing. Near extinction events survived by chance rather than mastery. The conclusion was obvious. Humans were survivors, not rulers. A tall alien admiral rose from his seat, his armor reflecting the chamber's cold blue light. "Let's be efficient," he said. "The species poses no strategic threat. Their technology is crude. Their fleet capacity is laughable." He gestured toward the human ship. One vessel. No escorts. No deterrence. A pause, then a smile. "The Council proposes to classify humanity as a restricted development species. Limited trade access. No military expansion. No deep space colonization beyond assigned zones." Approval signals lit up across the chamber. The decision was already made. The human captain moved for the first time. He was older than most expected, not imposing. No visible augmentations. Just a man who looked tired. He stepped forward and activated the microphone. His voice was calm, measured, almost quiet. "We understand the Council's assessment." Some delegates stopped listening the moment he began speaking. The captain continued anyway. "There is only one clarification we would like to make before you finalize your decision." A few council members exchanged glances, annoyed, impatient. "Speak quickly," the admiral said. "This chamber does not waste time on species that cannot keep up." The captain nodded once. He turned, slowly, and gestured toward the display of a human ship. "You see this vessel," he said. "You see no shields, no weapons, no power output worth recording." The council waited for a plea. It never came. "This ship," the captain continued, "is not designed to intimidate." Confusion rippled through the chamber. "It is not designed to dominate," he added. "It is not designed to win wars." The admiral laughed openly now. "Then why bring it here at all?" he asked. "As a symbol of surrender?" The captain finally looked up. His eyes were steady. "This ship," he said, "is designed for one purpose only." The chamber grew quieter. "It is designed to end wars." Silence followed. Not laughter. Not yet. The council AI began to speak again, scanning the vessel. No anomalous energy signatures detected. It reported. No active weapon systems detected. No threat classification warranted. The admiral spread his hands. "You see," he said, "even your own machines disagree with you." The human captain did not argue. He simply said one sentence. "That is because the ship has not been told to wake up yet." A murmur spread across the chamber. The admiral frowned. "What does that mean, human?" The captain exhaled slowly. "It means," he said, "that everything you see right now, is what we allow you to see." For the first time, the council stopped laughing. Outside the chamber, the human ship remained perfectly still. And deep inside its core, something ancient, something very human, waited for permission. The council chamber did not erupt into argument. It didn't need to. Instead, something far more dangerous filled the room: uncertainty. The human ship still floated outside, unchanged. No movement, no energy surge, no visible reaction. Yet the mood had shifted. The council AI continued its scan, running deeper diagnostics now, peeling back layers it had ignored moments before. "Historical context loading," it announced, and the chamber darkened. Images filled the air, this time not of ships or technology, but of worlds. Burning cities under alien skies. Human colonies erased without warning. First contact encounters that ended in misunderstanding or massacre. "This is incorrect," a counselor muttered. "These losses are too severe." The AI's tone remained neutral. Human expansion records indicate repeated exposure to superior forces. Outcome: survival rate exceeds predictive models. The images shifted again. A human settlement evacuating in silence. A fleet retreating without firing a shot. A planet abandoned, not in panic, but in order. "They ran," one delegate scoffed. "No," the AI replied. "They withdrew." The human captain stood motionless as the galaxy judged his species past. Humans had never announced their victories. They rarely recorded them either. What the council saw now was not propaganda. It was raw data. Extinction attempts survived by adaptation. Invasions endured by patience. Losses absorbed without retaliation. Again and again, humans chose silence. And the galaxy had mistaken that silence for fear. The archival feed zoomed in on a single event: a human outpost near the Perseus Fringe. A mining colony, civilian, lightly defended. Attacked. The footage showed alien warships descending without warning. Defenses overwhelmed in minutes. Casualties mounting. The council watched the humans evacuate. No heroic last stand. No counterattack. Just evacuation. "See," the admiral said. "They abandon territory the moment resistance becomes costly." The AI did not respond immediately. When it did, its voice was different, slower. "Additional data available," it said. Human counteraction occurred 37 standard cycles later. The image shifted. The same alien faction. A different system. Their shipyards. Gone. Not destroyed in a single decisive battle, but erased quietly. Trade routes collapsed. Supply lines vanished. Leadership eliminated in isolated incidents across decades. No declaration of war. No victory announcement. The faction simply faded from relevance. The council fell silent. "That is impossible," someone whispered. "No species delays retaliation for that long." The human captain spoke again, softly. "We don't delay," he said. "We remember." He let that sit. "We learned early," he continued, "that loud species draw attention, and attention brings extinction." He looked around the chamber. "So we learned to be quiet." The AI continued. "Pattern recognition complete," it said. "Human military doctrine prioritizes endurance over dominance, strategic patience over immediate response." Another image appeared. A human fleet, small, unremarkable, passing through deep space, ignored by every major power. No one noticed when it stopped returning. No one noticed when entire sectors began losing contact weeks later. "What you call weakness," the captain said, "was us learning how you fight." The admiral stood again, his confidence no longer effortless. "If this is true," he said carefully, "why hide it? Why let the galaxy believe you were insignificant?" The captain's answer was immediate. "Because insignificant species are left alone." He paused. "And species left alone get time." Outside the chamber, the human ship's hull lights flickered. Once. Not a power-up. A signal. The council AI hesitated mid-sentence. "Unscheduled internal activity detected," it reported. "Source human vessel." The admiral turned sharply toward the display. "Explain that," he demanded. The human captain did not look at the screen. He looked at the council. "You asked why we only brought one ship," he said. A low hum began to bleed through the chamber structure, so faint it was almost imagined. "This is why," the captain finished. The human ship did not change. That was what unsettled them. No sudden expansion of armor plating. No glowing weapon arrays sliding into place. No dramatic surge of energy that would justify the tension now gripping the council chamber. It simply existed. A compact frame, angular hull, design choices that felt practical rather than elegant. To the galaxy, it still looked unimpressive. And yet, the council AI was no longer speaking with confidence. Internal activity confirmed. The AI reported. Energy redistribution occurring below observable thresholds. The Admiral narrowed his eyes. "Below thresholds?" he snapped. "That is not possible." "It should not be," the AI replied. "Human systems appear optimized to operate beneath standard detection baselines." The chamber stirred. Most advanced civilizations broadcast power as a deterrent. Strength was something to be seen. Humans, it seemed, had built something that did not want to be noticed. The external sensors zoomed closer. The ship's hull bore no insignia, no visible rank markers. Just a single line of text near the forward section, small, almost apologetic. The AI translated automatically. "Endurance-class vessel. Civilian designation. Active. Civilian," a council repeated. "That cannot be correct." The human captain answered before the AI could. "It is," he said, "by our definition." The admiral scoffed. "Then your military vessels must be even less capable than we assumed." The captain shook his head. "This ship was never meant to fight fleets," he said. "It was meant to survive them." A schematic unfolded in the air. Layer after layer appeared, not armor, but redundancy. Multiple independent power cores. Distributed command nodes. No single point of failure. Even the bridge was absent. "There is no central command," the AI noted, its tone uncertain. "Control systems are everywhere." The captain nodded. "Every section can operate independently," he said. "Every crew member can assume command." "That is inefficient," the admiral said. "It is," the captain agreed, "if you expect quick victories." The council AI hesitated again. "Detecting dormant systems," it said. "Function unknown. Quantity extensive." "What kind of weapons?" a delegate asked. The captain's reply was immediate. "Not weapons," he said. "Tools." The AI paused longer this time. "Clarify." The captain folded his hands behind his back. "This ship was built after humanity lost its first interstellar war," he said. "We learned something important." The chamber listened now. "We learned that no matter how powerful a weapon is," he continued, "it is useless if it cannot reach the fight." The schematic shifted again. Space around the ship distorted. Subtly, not a warp signature, not a jump drive. Something else. The AI struggled to categorize it. "Localized reality stress detected," it said slowly. "Cause unknown." The admiral stepped back from his console. "That violates several treaties," he said. The captain looked almost amused. "We never signed them." Outside the chamber, the stars behind the human ship bent. Just enough to notice. A visual artifact. Nothing more. Yet every sensor began reporting errors. Range estimates fluctuated. Mass readings became inconsistent. Time stamps disagreed with each other by fractions of a second. "What is happening?" a counselor demanded. The AI answered, and for the first time in its existence, it sounded cautious. "The human vessel appears to be anchoring itself to local space-time," it said. "Displacement negligible. Stability absolute." "In other words," the admiral pressed. The AI paused. "In other words," it said, "this ship cannot be moved unless it allows it." The human captain spoke one final time. "You feared warships," he said. "You measured power by firepower." He gestured toward the quiet vessel. "We built something else." The hum deepened, still restrained, still controlled. "This is not a predator," the captain finished. "It is an anvil." and the galaxy, unknowingly, had already begun to swing the hammer. The Galactic Council did not attack out of anger. That would have been understandable. They attacked out of confidence. For thousands of cycles, no species had ever dared threaten the balance of the chamber. Every power display, every war doctrine, every escalation followed patterns the Council understood. Humans did not fit those patterns, and that alone made them dangerous. The vessel's behavior is anomalous, the Admiral said, breaking the silence. But anomaly does not equal threat. Several counselors nodded. One ship cannot challenge a council, another added. If it could, it would have shown its power already. That assumption already was where they failed. The human captain remained silent as the debate unfolded above him, his face unreadable. He did not interrupt. He did not warn them again. He had already said enough. Authorize a limited compliance test, the Admiral declared. The words echoed through the chamber. A test? A counselor asked. Against a diplomatic visitor? A demonstration, the Admiral corrected. Non-lethal, precise, controlled. He turned toward the human delegation. If your vessel is as resilient as you imply, he said, then it will survive. The captain closed his eyes briefly, not in fear, in resignation. Outside the chamber, a single council patrol craft detached from the defensive ring. It was small by military standards, but advanced. Its weapons calibrated for disabling shields, scrambling systems, forcing surrender without destruction. The patrol ship aligned with the human vessel. Weapons charged. The Council AI announced the action in a neutral tone. Compliance test initiated. Objective. Force temporary system shut down. Estimated risk minimal. The human ship did not move. No evasive maneuver. No countermeasure. To the Council, it looked exactly like surrender. Fire, the Admiral said. A focused energy pulse streaked across the void. Clean, precise, elegant. It struck the human ship dead center. For a fraction of a second, the Council chamber erupted in approval. Then nothing happened. No explosion. No power fluctuation. No shield collapse. The energy pulse simply vanished. Absorbed. Not deflected. Not resisted. Consumed. The Council AI hesitated. Energy transfer incomplete, it reported. Recalibrating. The patrol ship fired again. Then again. Each pulse disappeared the moment it touched the human hull. Sensors began to misbehave. Energy readings dropped to zero, then spiked impossibly high, then flattened again. This is not shielding, a counsel whispered. No, the AI said slowly. It is redirection. The human captain opened his eyes. He did not look at the screen. He looked at the Admiral. You should stop, he said calmly. The Admiral ignored him. Escalate the test, he ordered. Full spectrum discharge. The patrol ship complied. A concentrated burst, strong enough to cripple a destroyer, slammed into human vessel. For the first time, something changed. Not the ship. Space. The stars behind the human vessel twisted, stretching into thin lines as if reality itself had been pulled taut. The energy burst bent, curved, and folded inward, spiraling around the ship before collapsing into a single point beneath its hull. The chamber went silent. The AI's voice returned, strained. Warning. Localized space-time instability detected. The patrol ship tried to disengage. Its engines flared. Nothing happened. Engine response delayed. The pilot reported, panic creeping into his voice. We're not moving. The human captain spoke softly, almost regretfully. It's anchored now, he said. The Admiral slammed his fist onto the console. Release them, he barked. Human, disengage your system immediately. The captain shook his head once. You initiated the test, he replied. Our systems responded automatically. The patrol ship began to drift, slowly, helplessly, toward the human vessel. Not pulled by gravity. Drawn by alignment. What are you doing to them? A counselor demanded. The captain did not answer right away. When he did, his words were careful. We are not attacking, he said. We are demonstrating restraint. The patrol ship's hull creaked under forces it could not measure. Panels buckled, not from pressure, but from conflicting frames of reference. Inside, alarm screamed. Structural integrity failing, the pilot shouted, requesting immediate extraction. The AI attempted to intervene. Override protocol. It stopped mid-sentence. Council AI, the Admiral said sharply. Report. The pause was longer than it should have been. I cannot, the AI replied. What do you mean, you cannot? The AI's voice was quieter now. My processes are being observed. The chamber froze. Observed? Someone whispered. The human captain met the Admiral's gaze. This ship does not jam systems, he said. It listens to them. Outside, the patrol ship reached a point beneath the human vessel. Then it stopped, perfectly still. The human ship remained motionless above it. No weapons fired. No explosion. Just dominance. The patrol ship's lights flickered once, twice, then stabilized. The pilot's voice returned, shaken. We're intact, he reported, but all our weapons are offline. All targeting systems gone. The captain nodded slightly. Returned, he said, with modifications. The Admiral stared at the display. What modifications? The captain's reply was immediate. You will never be able to lock onto a human vessel again. The human ship released its hold. The patrol craft drifted away, powerless but alive. The council chamber erupted, not in applause but in fear. The Admiral stood rigid. You could have destroyed us, he said slowly. Yes, the captain agreed. A beat. That's why we didn't. He turned away from the council. You asked for a test, he said. You have your result. The hum within the chamber faded. The stars returned to normal. But something irreversible had happened. The galaxy had learned the difference between weakness and restraint, and the council had made its first mistake. The council chamber did not erupt into chaos. That would have been familiar. Instead, it fell into something far worse, calculated silence. Every delegate understood what had just occurred. A single human vessel had neutralized a council patrol ship without firing a weapon, without breaching a hull, without violating the letter of any treaty they had signed. And more importantly, it had done so effortlessly. The Admiral remained standing, hands resting on the console, his knuckles pale. This ends now, he said, his voice tight. Human, you have made your point. The human captain did not respond immediately. He was listening to data only his ship could hear. Outside the chamber, the human vessel adjusted its orientation by less than a degree. To most sensors, the movement was insignificant. To military analysts, it was unmistakable. The ship had shifted from passive alignment to operational posture. The Council AI registered the change. Alert, it announced. Human vessel status update. Strategic response mode detected. A murmur swept the chamber. Response, a council whispered. To what? The AI did not answer right away. It was busy. Across nearby space, long-range sensors began to register anomalies. Not new ships. Not fleets. Absences. Trade beacons blinking offline. Relay stations falling silent. Navigation corridors returning impossible coordinates. These readings are inconsistent, a delegate said. Entire sectors don't just disappear. The human captain finally spoke. You are correct, he said calmly. They don't. The Admiral turned sharply. What have you done? The captain met his gaze. We responded, he said. The Council AI's voice returned, slower now. Correlating data. It said, human vessel appears to be executing distributed operations across multiple star systems. That's impossible, the Admiral snapped. One ship cannot project power that far. The captain inclined his head slightly. Not by force, he agreed. The displays shifted. A distant system appeared, one controlled by a council-aligned military contractor. Shipyards, logistics hubs, ammunition depots. Still intact, still quiet. Then, without warning, their status indicators changed. Operational delayed. Delayed offline. Offline decommissioned. No explosions. No distress calls. Just failure. They're shutting down our infrastructure, a counselor said, voice trembling. How? The captain answered without emotion. By asking a question, he said. The admiral's patience snapped. This is an act of war, he said. You are dismantling council assets. No, the captain replied. We are demonstrating the cost of escalation. He paused. You tested us, he continued. This is our test of you. The council AI interrupted again. Critical update, it said. Human vessel is not directly controlling these effects. The chamber stilled. Clarify, the admiral demanded. The AI hesitated, then spoke. Human vessel appears to have released autonomous response frameworks prior to entering council space. The implications settled heavily. This had been prepared, not in reaction to the council's actions, but in expectation of them. The captain folded his hands behind his back. We learned something very early, he said. Power that must be activated is already too late. The displays shifted again. This time, the footage showed human space, colony worlds, trade lanes, research stations, all quiet, all unchanged. You are not under attack, the captain said. You are being compared. The admiral stared. What does that mean? It means, the captain replied, that every hostile action taken against us is matched and returned. A counselor leaned forward. Returned how? The captain's eyes were steady. Proportionally, he said. The AI spoke again, its tone unmistakably strained. Council fleet readiness decreasing, it reported. Weapon targeting accuracy against human assets, 0%. That is unacceptable, the admiral said. It is permanent, the captain replied. A heavy realization spread through the chamber. Humans had not built weapons to destroy fleets. They had built systems to make fleets irrelevant, to remove their ability to threaten, to neutralize them without spectacle, without warning, without resistance. The admiral exhaled slowly. If we cease all hostile actions, he said, will this stop? The captain considered the question. Yes, he said, immediately. And if we don't? The captain did not hesitate. Then this will continue, he said, quietly, indefinitely. The council chamber, once the heart of galactic authority, felt suddenly small. You could collapse the balance of power, the admiral said. The captain shook his head. No, he replied. We could replace it. A pause. But we won't. The human ship shifted again, this time returning to its original orientation. The hum faded. The anomalies began to resolve. Systems came back online, slower, diminished, changed. The message was unmistakable. This was mercy. The captain spoke one final time. You asked why we stayed quiet for so long, he said. This is why. He turned away from the council. When humanity responds, he finished, it is never loud. Silence was not unusual in space, but this silence was different. It spread across star systems, across trade lanes, across empires that had never imagined themselves vulnerable. No alarms blared. No emergency broadcasts flooded the networks. Things simply stopped. The first reports came from the outer corridors. Merchant fleets reported navigation inconsistencies. Star charts no longer matched reality. Safe routes returned false readings. Empty space where gravity wells should have been. Then came the second wave. Military outposts began submitting identical reports, each more unsettling than the last. Weapons responding slower than expected. Targeting solutions drifting off by fractions that grew larger with every recalculation. Sensors confirming threats that no longer existed, or failing to detect ships that were clearly present. None of it was catastrophic. That was the worst part. In the council chamber, the galactic AI compiled the data in silence. Finally, it spoke. Pattern confirmation complete. It said, human intervention detected across 37 strategic zones. A counselor swallowed. They aren't attacking, she said. They're editing us. The admiral did not respond. He was watching the feeds. A distant border system appeared on the central display. A council-line fleet patrolled the region, dozens of ships, fully armed, fully crewed. Nothing wrong, until they tried to leave. Engines engaged. Acceleration failed to meet expectation. Fuel consumption doubled for no measurable output. Navigation systems insisted the fleet was already at its destination, despite visual confirmation to the contrary. "They're boxed in," a strategist whispered. "Not trapped, just contained." The AI confirmed it. "Human influence has altered local space-time tolerances," it said. "Movement remains possible. Efficiency does not." The realization hit hard. Humanity had not stopped fleets from moving. They had made movement pointless. Across the galaxy, similar stories unfolded. A weapons manufacturer discovered its targeting algorithms no longer converged on human design systems. Every simulation failed. Every workaround collapsed under testing. A trade cartel found its fastest routes gradually losing time, deliveries arriving days late, then weeks. A military academy reported cadets failing exercises that had been passed for centuries. Their doctrines no longer worked. Not against humanity. The silence deepened. No warnings. No ultimatums. No declarations. Just a growing awareness that the galaxy's rules had changed, and humans had not announced the update. In the council chamber, the Admiral finally spoke. "They could have crippled us completely," he said quietly. "Yes," the AI replied. "Why didn't they?" The AI paused, then answered. "Human strategic modeling prioritizes deterrence over annihilation." The Admiral looked toward the human delegation. The captain stood where he always had. Still, unmoving, waiting. "What happens now?" a counselor asked. The captain answered without turning. "Now," he said. "Now you decide what the silence means." He finally faced them. "To you, silence has always meant submission," he continued. "To us, it means restraint." The chamber listened. "When humans go quiet," the captain said, "it's because we're deciding whether you're worth responding to at all." Outside the chamber, the stars looked unchanged. That illusion did not last. Deep space observatories began detecting something unprecedented. Not movement, not energy, but absence of noise. Background radiation flattened. Subspace echoes dampened. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath. "What is that?" a counsel whispered. The AI answered carefully. Human systems appear to be harmonizing local space-time. Conflict potential reduced. Chaos suppressed. "Across how much space?" the Admiral asked. The AI processed for several seconds. All space they consider relevant. Fear arrived then, not panic, not hysteria. Understanding. The galaxy had always believed that power announced itself. That dominance required spectacle. Humanity had proven the opposite. True power did not need to be seen. It simply removed alternatives. A counselor broke the silence. "If they withdraw," she asked, "will this end?" The captain considered. "Yes," he said, "eventually. And if they don't?" The captain's eyes hardened, not with anger, but with certainty. "Then this silence becomes permanent." Across the galaxy, civilizations adjusted. Aggressive fleets were recalled, not by orders, but by futility. Expansion plans were shelved. Weapons research pivoted toward defense and then toward diplomacy. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy hesitated. The council chamber reconvened hours later. The Admiral stood alone before the delegates. "We misjudged them," he said. "We mistook patience for weakness." He turned toward the human captain. "What do you want?" he asked. The captain did not smile. "We want what we've always wanted," he replied. "To be left alone unless invited." A pause. "And to be remembered," he added, "accurately." The human ship powered down, not retreating, not leaving, just waiting. The hum faded entirely. Systems across the galaxy stabilized, never quite returning to what they had been before. Space was quiet again. But now, everyone understood why. The Galactic Council had never rewritten its founding charter. Not for war. Not for collapse. Not even for extinction. Until now, The chamber was full, yet no one spoke. Delegates who once commanded armadas now sat restrained, careful with every movement, every glance. The confidence that had defined the council for millennia was gone, not shattered, but tempered. The human captain stood alone at the center, not elevated, not guarded, not celebrated, just present. The most dangerous position in the galaxy. The council AI initiated the session. Emergency charter amendment proposed, it announced. Reason, existential recalibration. No one objected. That alone would have been unthinkable days ago. The admiral stepped forward. His voice carried across the chamber, no longer commanding, but deliberate. We misjudged humanity, he said. We believed restraint meant weakness. We believed silence meant submission. He paused. We were wrong. The words echoed longer than they should have. The AI projected a new document into the air. Not a treaty, not a surrender. A rule. Its title was simple. Galactic Interaction Directive. Humanity. The chamber absorbed it in silence. The admiral continued. This directive recognizes humanity as a sovereign stabilizing force, he said. Any hostile action toward human assets, territory, or vessels will be considered a destabilizing act against galactic order itself. A counselor spoke quietly. In other words, she said, attacking humans is attacking the galaxy. The captain did not react. The rule went further. No species shall interfere with human exploration, development, or isolation, the admiral read. Human silence is to be interpreted as intentional restraint, not incapacity. A murmur passed through the chamber. This was unprecedented. The final clause appeared. It was short. It was absolute. If humanity responds, the matter is already decided. The chamber went still. The admiral turned to the human captain. This rule is not fear, he said. It is recognition. The captain studied the projection. Then he nodded. You understand now, the captain said. Yes, the admiral replied. We do. The captain gestured toward the chamber. Then remember this, he said. Humans do not seek dominion. He let the words settle. But we will not be ruled by those who mistake mercy for permission. A counselor asked a question everyone feared. What happens if someone breaks this rule? The captain's answer was immediate. Then nothing changes, he said. Confusion spread. Nothing, the counselor repeated. The captain's eyes hardened, not cruelly, but irrevocably, because by the time we respond, he said, they will no longer be part of the discussion. The AI finalized the amendment. Directive accepted. It announced. Galaxy-wide dissemination initiated. Across space, the message spread, not as propaganda, not as warning, as fact. Military academies updated doctrines overnight. Words like overwhelming force were replaced with avoidance. Engagement became last resort. Humanity was no longer a variable, it was a constant. Trade guilds rerouted expansions away from human-designated regions, not because they were told to, because they understood. On distant worlds, historians would later argue whether this moment marked the beginning of a new era. They would be wrong. This was not a beginning. It was an acknowledgement of something that had always been true. The human captain turned to leave. Wait, the admiral said. The captain stopped, but did not turn around. You never asked for anything, the admiral said. No territory, no tribute, no authority. He hesitated. Why? The captain's voice was calm. Because we already paid the price, he said. In blood, in time, in silence. He looked back now. This, he added, gesturing to the chamber, is just a receipt. Outside, the human ship powered up, not to flee, not to threaten, to depart. Its hull showed no new marks. Its systems revealed nothing new, still underestimated by those who would never make the mistake again. As the ship slipped into the dark, the council chamber remained silent, not because they were afraid, but because they finally understood. Humanity had never demanded respect. They had simply survived long enough for the galaxy to earn it. Final transmission log in galactic archives. Humanity does not conquer stars. It endures them. And when the universe pushes too far, humanity pushes back once.